She's like, you're just avoiding what you're here to heal. Actually, what's needed is to get into relationship. And that's for many of us where we are meant to heal. It's actually where the healing takes place. Why would we incarnate onto a place where there are millions and billions of other souls if we weren't meant to interact with them? If we weren't meant to heal together? Because that is what we are here to do. We're here to help one another walk home to God. So that person that has come into your life that has or is hurting you, that person that is or has triggered you, is a reflection of you that is here to help you heal. Have you ever had somebody in your life that has triggered you? Have you ever had someone in your life that has hurt you? Maybe that person is in your life currently. Maybe this is something that you're currently experiencing. And in today's episode, what I'm going to take you through is how every single person that has triggered you, every single person that has hurt you, is a reflection of you that is here to help you heal. So be prepared, because this episode may trigger you a bit. It may bring up some deep emotions and feelings. And that's what it's here to do. Relationships are our greatest teachers. And I know that they have been for me. And that's the inspiration around today's episode. A lot of these first episodes are coming from my direct experiences that I had in a 3-week powerful journey down in Costa Rica, where I did 5 days of somatic work with my somatic therapist, and then went into a festival experience where I got to really go through the whole transformation of what I experienced in the 5 days with my somatic therapist. It was like a playground for everything that I just went through. And one of the things that I experienced in my somatic therapy sessions was a time where we went into the session, and the first thing that came up was an experience that I had when I was 15 years old. And I was brought back to this moment of time when I was 15 and I had just started my freshman year of football. And I had come from being the star athlete in middle school. And then I go into being a freshman on the football team. And there was this one guy on the football team that was always a little bit heavier than me. And in football, we had different weight classes that would determine the team that we were on. And so he was the star for the heavier weight class, and I was the star for the lighter weight class. And he was a bit of a bully. And I go and I start practicing on the team. We go into summer camp. And at that time, I had a bit of cockiness. And I thought I was really good. And I remember one day getting a message from him on Facebook Messenger at the time saying, like, hey, you think you run the team, you need to stop doing that. And I remember at that time being really scared of him and being scared of getting beaten up and being scared of being reprimanded. And I remember, and I was brought back to this in the session, that I didn't stick up for myself. And I remember sending a message back of, if you don't want me to keep doing this, then I will stop doing it. I'm not going to do it anymore. Like, whatever you want, I won't do it. And in the session, I felt all that. I felt myself like being little, not sticking up for myself. And it brought up a lot of anger. It brought up like frustration of why didn't I stick up for myself? And I got angry, and I thought I was meant to go into it and like feel the anger and feel the frustration. And that's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to stick up for myself. And I went through that whole emotional process. And then what my somatic therapist guided me into was actually seeing how me not sticking up for myself and me sticking up for myself was both the same wound presenting itself in two different ways. It was the same wound on different ends of the spectrum. If I didn't stick up for myself and belittled myself, That was one aspect of the wound. If I did stick up for myself and I got angry and I said, you know what, F you, I'm going to keep showing up in the way that I want to, like, don't tell me what to do. That was the other end of the wound. And so as I went through this session, what I got to see was that this guy came into my life to trigger this wound within me. And at 15 years old, I got to experience one end of it. And now at 29 years old, I got to experience the other end. I got to become that 15-year-old that didn't stick up for himself. I got to get into the anger and frustration and stick up for myself. And then as the soul, I got to see how this wound was both ends of the spectrum. And through the process, I got to heal from it. And I got to see the divine nature of this situation. That this guy that bullied me was a reflection of me that I called into my life to trigger this wound and ultimately help me heal from it. And if he didn't come into my life, I wouldn't have now gone through this whole experience. And by going through the experience, what I got to see was the situations in my life where this same wound has continuously presented itself. I got to see how, with other men specifically, how I would not stick up for myself, how I would feel these things within my body and go into being smaller and going to feeling less than. And I got to see how directly in my life currently, I was experiencing that same wound too, with another man. And through the whole experience, I got to see how these men have come into my life to trigger this wound and to ultimately help me heal from it. And by going through the experience, I got to bring my nervous system into a deeper coherent state. And what it really taught me was forgiveness. And it taught me how to love on a deeper level. And so these reflections of me came into my life to trigger this wound within me, to ultimately come to this moment in my life, to heal from the wound, and to ultimately come into a deeper level of love and presence within myself. And if they didn't come into my life to do that, then I wouldn't have been able to heal from this wound. And now I get to carry forward in my life an aspect of forgiveness and the aspect of now seeing that when people come into my life and trigger these wounds, they are reflections of me that are ultimately here to help me heal. And this anger that I used to hold towards them was now turned into divine love. And I got to feel it. I remember in the session, my somatic therapist said, like, what are you experiencing now? And I said that I just got to see the divine nature. Like, I literally saw these two men as angels that came into my life to be like, hey, let me prick on this wound, let me hit it, and I'm going to help you through the experience heal so that you can know love on a deeper level. And I tell you this story because this is something that has repeated for myself all throughout my life. I've seen, especially in intimate partnerships, how somebody comes into your life to ultimately help me and you heal. Intimate relationships are one of the hardest things that we go through, probably the hardest thing that we go through, right? It is the thing that triggers us on the absolute deepest level. And I have seen over time that it is the most divine thing that we can go through, is that the intimate relationship brings two souls together, especially when souls are starting to do their work. It brings two souls together to trigger everything within you, to bring up everything that you hold inside, All those aspects of you that you thought were enlightened. Yeah, get into an intimate relationship, and then you're going to see that all those things that were enlightened that you did on your own, they're not anymore. And by getting into a intimate relationship or by getting into a friendship, you literally have a direct reflection of yourself in front of you. And the reason that I say a direct reflection is because when we look at this, within this podcast, we're going to go a little multidimensional. So get prepared for that. When we look at this from a multidimensional sense, I know from direct experience that I have seen how we are all reflections of ourselves, that we are all reflections of one another. We are all souls that come from God, that go into the incarnation of earth to go through the life experience. So we all come from God. We are all one. We are all God living in this experience. So I am a reflection of you. And we are all souls going through the experience of life, ultimately one day returning back to source in God. So you are a reflection of me. I am a reflection of you. I hold within myself things that will help trigger you in order to help you heal and ultimately help me heal too. So when two people come into an intimate relationship together, there is this sort of contract between the two of, hey, I'm going to help you heal and you're going to help me heal. And ultimately, through that healing, we have the opportunity to go into a deeper level of love within ourselves. I know that for myself, oftentimes, I think that I'm getting into an intimate relationship because this person is the one. They are the one. They are the one that I'm meant to marry and go and have kids with. And I know that in my 20s, it hasn't been the case yet because I don't have that yet. I've gone through intimate relationships, especially over the past 3 years, that I thought this was my person. And I've fantasized about that this is my person. This is the one that I'm meant to be with. And I'm going to have this heavenly love. And I'm going to experience just what we see in the movies. And then I get into it and it's like, oh shit, wait, that's actually not what this is. It's bringing up all these things within me. It's bringing up all these triggers and all these wounds and all these things that I haven't looked at yet. And I know for my recent relationship, that's exactly what it was. In my recent relationship, I went into it experiencing like this deep connection in the first moment that we met and like this soul recognition and falling deeply into love right in the beginning. And then we went into the relationship fast and moved quick, and I thought I was pacing it in the right way and just listening to my heart. And in a way I was. But after a couple months, all the wounds started really presenting themselves. When that infatuation of love in the beginning started to fade, it revealed all that was actually there, which was a lot of triggers, a lot of wounds in both of us. And we went through this experience for 6 months of triggering one another and not being really able to find like the coherence between each other. And we would communicate and find it in moments. And I've experienced this for about the past year of this push and pull and I love you, but I can't be with you, and all triggering all these wounds on her end as well. And it's just now that I'm starting to get into the place of unconditional love. And it's come from seeing in my childhood how I felt responsible for my parents' marriage. I felt responsible for holding my mom's nervous system and making sure that she was okay. And it's something I felt from the moment I was in her womb. And this is something that I experienced in my somatic therapy as well, is that from the moment I was in my mom's womb, coming in as a soul, I felt responsible for her nervous system because her nervous system was not stable. And I'm sure this is something that many of us experience as these star seeds and souls that have evolved a lot, whatever you want to call us. We come in feeling responsible for those that aren't as awake. And oftentimes that's our parents. And so I know for me, coming in my mother's womb, I felt responsible for her nervous system. And then I came into the world, and from the time I was very little, I felt responsible for my parents' marriage. I felt responsible for my mom's nervous system in the marriage, that I had to care for her and make sure that she was okay. And that's the exact thing that I did in this last relationship, was I felt responsible for my partner's nervous system. And I would do all these things, and I would lose myself in the relationship to make sure that she was okay. And in this, I just lost myself more. And I didn't listen to my intuition. And it caused havoc within my own nervous system. In my childhood, I experienced horrible allergies. I remember being on a nebulizer every day, which is like this thing that would basically breathe a steroid into my lungs. And I would be on that every day. And I had horrible allergies. I was allergic to everything. It was very hard for me to just be in a human body. And that's what I experienced with my mom as a child. And now, as a 28, 29-year-old, I had the same situation happen to me. I felt responsible for my partner's nervous system, and I was losing myself in that. And I was not taking care of my own nervous system in it, not listening to my intuition fully, not speaking my needs fully. And then I developed horrible allergies. I couldn't breathe through my nose. I was getting hives. My whole body was inflamed. And it's the same experience that I went through as a child. And so now I have this woman that came into my life that is triggering all of this within me to ultimately help me heal from it. And what it really taught me was how to speak my needs, how to speak my truth, how to share my voice. And this has happened just recently, is that I've now been able to share my voice. I've been able to share my truth. I've been able to say what I need to say. And from that, I have found a deep level of peace within myself and my nervous system. Actually, this morning, because last night I was with this person, speaking my needs, speaking my truth. And from that, it was one of the most enjoyable experiences that we've ever shared together. We got to come into a space of just pure enjoyment where there wasn't all those wounds and triggers that there were before. I got to share my truth with her. And for her, what happened is that she said she's been holding on to something for 4 years. And in the moment that I spoke my truth, something in her shifted that completely brought her into a new space of peace that she's never been able to experience before. And this came from healing from the wounds that I held within my childhood, that she came into my life to trigger and bring up. And now from speaking my truth with her, I have been able to heal. I have been able to find a place of unconditional love within myself. I've been able to find it for myself, for her, and just as a whole. And it's allowed her to now find this place of love within herself too. And I know from her experience and from what she shared, she's been able to find a newfound love within herself that she's never been able to experience before. And so from this person coming into my life and triggering these wounds that I thought I might have healed from. In the past year, I've gone through a deep, hard journey of seeing all parts of myself that were not yet healed. And from it, I got to experience a newfound aspect of myself that I would have never been able to experience had this reflection of me not come into my life. And the beautiful thing is that when I've looked into this person's eyes multiple times, I see myself. I see me. And I go, oh my God, is that you? And it's me. It's me looking back at myself. It's us looking back at one another. And ultimately from the experience, seeing how we both came into each other's lives to teach each other things that we would have never been able to achieve alone. And that's something that many people are afraid of. They'll stay in their environments. They'll do the work on their own. And I know for me, I even had a situation where that's what I thought I needed to do. I went into 90 days of doing a feminine fast. I went into spending a lot of time in isolation. And that's something that's needed at times. But it's funny is that I shared that I was doing that with my somatic therapist, somebody that I deeply trust. And she said that it was stupid. She's like, you're just avoiding what you're here to heal. Actually, what's needed is to get into relationship and be in relation, because that's where you're meant to heal. And that's for many of us where we are meant to heal. It's actually where the healing takes place. The deepest work that I've seen, the deepest healing that happens is in relation, because that's what we're here to do. Why would we incarnate onto a place where there are millions and billions of other souls if we weren't meant to interact with them, if we weren't meant to heal together? Because that is what we are here to do. We're here to help one another walk home to God. So that person that has come into your life that has or is hurting you, that person that is or has triggered you, is a reflection of you that is here to help you heal. And there's two ways that we get to go about this. We get to be in the trigger and be in the wound and react from that place and live from the past patterns. And that's what many of us do, is that trigger comes up. And so we live from the past pattern. We live from the past wound. We react from that place. And when the trigger is there, we maybe put that person down. We say the thing that our mom or dad said to us, and we reflect that to them. Because what they are is maybe a representation of mom or dad. And so you react to them in the way that they did. And that's what doesn't allow us to heal. That's what brings us deeper into the wound, deeper into the trauma. And so we can react from that place and continue the wound. And then we maybe move on from that person. And then boom, there's the next relationship that brings up the same wound, probably even deeper, makes it even harder. And so we can continue the cycle, or we can recognize that this person standing right in front of me is someone that is here to help me heal. And so when the triggers and the wounds come up, this is where the work on the nervous system is so impactful and powerful. Is that when the trigger comes up, you have the level of coherence within your nervous system. And when I say coherence, I mean regulation, I mean calmness, I mean presence. To see, oh wow, here is a wound that this person is here to help me heal. And how you heal that in a relational setting is that you get calm, you get present, and you share from that place. So let's say that this person comes into your life, and in a relationship, like what I experienced, the person belittles you. They put you down. They say something mean to you that really hurts your heart. In that situation, you then have the opportunity to either react from the wound and say, F you, or run away, or block the person and not deal with it there. Or you have the opportunity to take a moment to get calm, to get regulated. Maybe that's taking space at first. Maybe it's saying, hey, I need some space to feel into this. And then coming to the person and sharing with them your experience. Hey, when you said that to me, this is how it made me feel. It made me hurt inside. It made me feel like you didn't love me. And it reminds me of a time when I was 5 years old when my dad did the same exact thing. And then that gives the person that's a reflection of you an opportunity to then recognize this too. Because you sharing your truth with them allows them the ability to feel into their truth. Because them bringing this up to you and belittling you in this way was a divine intervention to ultimately help them heal too. Because you sharing your truth with them allowed them to then see why this situation came into their life and what it's there to help them heal. And if you are both able to meet each other in that place and share your truth, you will ultimately come into a deeper place of love within yourself. Because then you will be able to forgive one another, to say thank you for bringing this up within me. If you weren't here, I wouldn't have had this opportunity. And now because you brought this up within me, we have the opportunity now to heal together. And that ultimately, through that experience, helps you heal the wound that was held inside of you. And when you heal that wound, every single time it drops you deeper into love. It drops you deeper into what you are. You are a being of God. You are a being of love. And so as we heal in relationship and as we come into love in relationship, it allows us to become more of what we are. It allows us to love on a deeper level. And then through that relationship, you're able to continue that. And then sometimes the relationship comes to a point where you've done the task, you've done the deed, you've done everything that you need to do. And sometimes the greatest form of love looks like saying that it's time to move on. I know that I've had to experience this so many times, is that, and this is the aspect of having the relationship that's here to help you heal, is that sometimes the relationship comes to a point where everything that has happened that is meant to happen has happened. That's a lot of happens. And then from that space, you then get to see that it's time to release the attachment. It's time to let it go. And that is actually what that person is here to help you heal then. Sometimes it's in conversation, and then sometimes the greatest form of love is to create a boundary, is to say that it's time to move on. Because it's not always meant to happen that the conversations are meant to continue. Sometimes you're meant to move on and then have that new reflection that comes into your life that helps you heal on a deeper level. And from this past relationship that you let go of, it's actually going to help you heal deeper in the next one. And this is what we're all here to help each other do. Is that I'm here to come into your life to help you heal. You're here to help me heal too. And then once we go through the healing, we then have the opportunity to move on. And then we get the next reflection. We get the next person that comes into our life. That then helps us heal from the wound. And we go through this process continuously, and ultimately through being in relationship, through being in relation with one another, we then get to the place where we know the deepest level of love within ourselves. And then we get to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Ultimately, through this whole process, coming back to what we are, which is love. And so, in this process of life, as these people come into your life, as the person triggers you, as the person brings up the wound, see it as a divine intervention that is here to help you heal. See it as something that is here to help you know yourself on a deeper level. See it as something here to help you know love and know God. Because God is standing right in front of you when you get into this relationship. And I know for myself that through relationship, it has been the thing that has helped me know myself on the deepest level that I can. By going through these relationships and getting my heart broken again and again, whether that's saying that I need to move on from someone moving on from me, someone breaking up with me breaking up with them, a friend that I say I need to move on from. And that's been one of the things for me in the past year is like these friendships that I thought I had to hold on to and that they would be in my life forever. I've had to move on from and say that I no longer wish to be in relationship with. Through that whole process, it's taught me love and the many forms of love. Because there's not just one. It's not just when we're in an intimate relationship when we fall in love. Love comes in many shapes and forms. And sometimes it's saying it's time to move on. So know that every relationship that comes into your life is an opportunity for you to heal. It's an opportunity for you to go into it or to set boundaries and move on. And ultimately, through the process, you will know yourself on the deepest level that you can. So if you're in your life right now and you're saying F you to that person, or you're holding on to resentment, you're holding on to anger for them, know that that's only holding you back. And that actually being in relation with them or with someone else and giving forgiveness to them is ultimately what is going to help you know love on a deeper level. Because that's something that will hold you back, that will not allow you to evolve on your process, is if you hold on to the anger and the resentment and you don't heal from it. Want to know what happens when you do that? That's where cancer, disease, nervous system dysregulation, autoimmune diseases come from, is when you hold on to something. When you say, this person hurt me so bad. This person did this, this, and that to me. And you don't allow yourself to let it go. You don't allow yourself to give forgiveness to this person. And I want to leave you with something that really, really hit me. And she would be okay with me sharing this with you. Is that this person that I've been in a relationship with for the past year, she was sexually abused deeply by her father. And one of the things that she said to me last night was that if her father didn't do this to her, she wouldn't be able to be in the space that she's in now and knowing love as she does now. That her father came into her life to do this to her so that she could heal on the level that she is now. And that really hit me. That left me in a place of like, I don't know. That left me with anger. And as I sat with it more, it was like wow, you're right. You are right. And that's the level of forgiveness that we can hold, that we can have. Because you might be someone where someone has done something like that to you. And it's not to say that what they did was right and okay. But there is a divine nature to all of this. That people come into our lives They sometimes hurt us really, really bad. And it's ultimately an opportunity for us to forgive and to heal so that we can know love on the deepest level that we can. And so I hope today's episode left something within you to see the people in your life, to see the reflections all around you, and to see them as divine opportunities and divine souls that are here to help you heal so that you can know yourself on the deepest level that you can. I love you, I appreciate you, and I thank you for being here with me. And we are going to close this out with 3 breaths together. So allow your eyes to close. Let your current breath fall out. Take a breath in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. Another breath in. Let it go out the mouth. Last one, big breath in. And let it go. Thanking every single person in your life for how they are here to impact you. How they are here to let you know love. And that every person that has hurt you, that has triggered you, even if they don't know it, is truly doing it from a place of love so that you can know that within yourself. Again, I love you, I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this, please like it, please share it, and please subscribe to the channel so that I can keep showing up and giving you these loving transmissions. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.